ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Hello and welcome, ladies and gents, back to ESL Challenger League, the European Cup number 3, and we are in the consolidation final here between QWENTRY and eLITenergy. We're looking to see who'll be joining none other than Johnny Speeds in that grand final for, of course, the first place, but a spot in towards that Regional Cup at the end of the year, which, if you win that, can book you a spot to Pro League, and that's what these teams are fighting for. It's exciting times the last couple of days here, Scrove.
Yeah, absolutely, man. A really sort of important cup. I think for a lot of these teams, one of the lines that we've had coming into this is the fact that, you know, the whole VRS rush means that some of the higher level tier 2 teams have maybe missed out on this one, right? Giving it a bit of a miss. So it's a very winnable cup ultimately, and this is what they're playing off for. You win that $12,000, of course, and the breakdown, and all these little bits of money are going to be very useful to your VRS, especially again at this level of the game. If you can tie money to VRS, not just wins against opponents that are a bit higher than you and placing well enough, you can really boost your VRS. But it is, of course, that spot at the European regional final, and then a Pro League spot available at that final. So a lot to play for in this particular cup. Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right as well. Let's take a look at the brackets. We'll kickstart things here looking at that lower bracket, because that's the game that we're going to be looking at, of course, is QWENTRY taking on eLITenergy. eLITenergy took down TNC yesterday in that 2-1. We caught TNC, and you know what? They were pleasantly surprised at times by the CS they were bringing to the table. They looked honestly pretty solid against Mana. I thought Mana would be the favourites in that game. They beat them 2-0, but then fell short to eLITenergy. But now they've got to face off against QWENTRY, who are right now one of the sides, I would say, sort of like upper echelons of probably more like tier 3 with where they're at. I think, you know, you get to tier 2 when you're like properly inside of that top 50. They find themselves kind of HTV ranked 61st in the world currently, but it's Johnny Speeds who wait in the wings. They already took down QWENTRY as well 2-0, and I mean, for a long run of things, with, as you're mentioning, this is kind of a cup where I think, you know, a lot of the big teams are preoccupied, let's say, with the VRS race and other tournaments, especially a lot of LANs going around at the moment. The Cup 3 across most regions is actually a little bit weak compared to Cup 1 and 2, and actually probably my expectations of Cup 4. I think Cup 4 is going to be like stacked with teams who are maybe not looking, you know, super confident with where their VRS is, or maybe don't have a direct invite towards Pro League already, and because of that, it might be a bit stacked. This is a prime example for some of these slightly lesser teams. But for a while, Johnny Speeds have been the pretty hefty favourite. They are like one of the highest ranked sides in this tournament. I think they're like the 4th highest ranked. But they're also one of the scariest in terms of when they do play. Oddly enough, though, QWENTRY are the highest ranked team.
No, yeah, that is true. That is true. The way that they've been grinding away over the past sort of 3 or 4 months, I think, you know, really impressive the way that they have been playing. There's, of course, the roster here, and some pretty dangerous names on this team. You got FaceCrack, who brings in all the experience, of course, but there are some pretty heavy hitters. Eights is very decent in my mind, but it's Slaxajez, of course, who steals a lot of the limelight as you know, CIS region continues just printing crazy riflers and whatnot. We'll see how he looks over the next year or two, and whether he does get moved up to some of the higher level teams. He's only 18 years of age, so yeah, just absolutely wild to see. But yeah, very impressive young player alongside a lot of others on his team as well. We've got him in the head-to-head here against Koz, who is the antithesis, I suppose, of him really on the opposite team. He is also one of those carrying players, and one that we wanted to highlight here.
Yeah, no, exactly that. It's actually just, for me, an unbelievable talent. Like every single time I've fought QWENTRY, like he's a player who, I mean, you can kind of just see like recently how ridiculous his rating is, which kind of is, I think 1.27 in the last 3 months. But like every time I seem to catch him, he looks so sharp. And the great thing about this QWENTRY side is that, I mean, I've cast them quite a bit recently because they play so many of these online tournaments, Nodwin, CCTs, obviously ECL as well. You know, they're playing everything going at the moment. Every single time I seem to catch them, it's not only Slack shares. Like we're getting individuals. Like, I think Facecrack, every time we seem to cast them, despite his age and his veterancy, seems to be really sharp. I think apparel does some really nice moments. The only like player who looks a little weaker to me would be 8 on the AWP. He's probably like a slight player that I want to see a little bit more out of. But if we can, this team becomes very, very good as well. eLITenergy, I don't really know too much about this side. Like, they are really new. They don't play a lot of competitions. They've not been around very long as well. From what I can see, it's basically for this year that this team came together. And essentially, like, outside of this third cup, like, they've really not done anything. They played Advanced a little bit. And the small portion of Advanced that was on HLTV, they lost both games, right? So they just got, you know, double elim there. They played in the first cup, where again, you know, they just lost, right? They picked up a few wins against like some okay teams, Minlay X Ruby, for example, WW, that kind of like stream team, but with Deco as well. And then, yeah, outside of that, like, they're not done anything. They played Nodwin in the closed qualifier, lost immediately. And that's really about it. So I don't really know what to expect about this team. They have played off against each other not that long ago in this cup specifically. And that was a 2-0, pretty simply. 39 across both maps, Dust 2 and Overpass. And I'd be very surprised if it isn't the same result.
Yeah, I think we maybe just have like two versions of the same team, but QWENTRY are that 1 or 2 steps ahead at the moment. I wouldn't be too surprised if they play a very similar sort of style here. We've got a couple members of the team and the coaching staff. I just had a little look. Ember Jesus got moved. He's the only player to have been moved after only a couple of months, but him and Koz are kind of the only ones that have played in a lot of these Puggier style teams, and they play in Advanced, and you know, but once they hit a certain ceiling, they tend to just flatten off or move to a different team that does the same sort of thing. So they're a group of players that may well be able to break through their ceiling, but find it difficult. I think QWENTRY are in that conversation as well, that at one time it was like, okay, they do the same sort of vibe, like they can't quite, you know, there's a lot of guys who played in the Hester roster, and they just can't break that ceiling, and they'll win the odd qualifier, they'll play the odd tournament like this, or whatever it may be. It's since the addition of Facecrack, really, to these guys as a group, that they've really been turning things around. That plus the fact that they've gone for the old classic, which is a tier 2 classic, of just playing non-stop Counter-Strike every single game you can, grinding it out, smashing maps. You've got a great kind of merchant map in Dust 2 that they can really heavily lean on. And that is a style that once in a while does manage to work, that you can just out-game the rest of the field and just be really, really fresh, unpredictable, and in the flow state, as it were. It happens. We tend to have 1 or 2 teams that do that, like towards the bottom end of tier 2, towards the top end of tier 2, and we eventually say, okay, 6 months, it'll be over, right? Like, they look good at the moment, teams will start figuring them out, or one of the key pieces will get poached, and then that's just kind of the last you'll hear of these guys for quite a while. And I think that QWENTRY, unfortunately, are going to fall into that bracket as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We'll sort of have to see. I really don't know what the ceiling is like for this side, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's a real world that they can kind of come out of nowhere and start scaling the ranks in the second half of the year. But, you know, we've even spoken about it recently. It kind of feels like the only proper way to scale the rankings at the moment is the VRS Max, which actually means that you don't play all these online games. You actually just, like, pick and choose the lands. But like, a lot of teams don't have the luxury of doing that. I think QWENTRY potentially could be in that boat where they don't have the luxury of actually like picking and choosing, you know, what games and what series they get to play. So we'll see. But of course, we've got some map stats for you before getting underway into this one. It'd be interesting to kind of see, like, in terms of how different this series is to the last time. Like, I'd be very, very surprised looking at this game if we don't kind of get the exact kind of like parallel veto, right? But not only that, in terms of like the scoreline too, like, I just think these sides have kind of got a very clear gap between themselves, but then also kind of like a gap between what is the next stage for them. Like essentially, like eLITEnergy are trying to get to probably the level of QWENTRY right now, and QWENTRY are trying to get in towards like being a certified tier 2 team. Overpass, I feel like QWENTRY, despite it probably being kind of the you know, where eLITEnergy will like to lean to, is they're kind of their favorite map at the moment. QWENTRY don't mind it. They play it a hell of a lot. They're gonna have a great time, and we can kind of see the stats here as well. 20 wins, 8 losses. They also got that Dust 2, which is just their go-to pick. They played it 43 times in the last 3 months. It's about to be their 44th time in this series. And then in that last time out there, you know, there's kind of a few variations of where that game could have gone and could have lent, but in the end, like, Nuke feels like the somewhat decent handshake. So ultimately with this, I ask a lot of questions about the energy. Let's see what the veto is for this time. I kind of assume it'll be the same. The Overpass, and we're kind of floating around it, so that might tell a bit of a picture. The Dust 2, Nuke Decider.
Oh. So far, so good. I mean, they didn't necessarily get to the decider last time, right? So it's That's like, are you going to change that up? Probably not. It makes the most sense to just sort of stick with where your head was at in the first place. And it came close in a player's mind. 1 or 2 more rifles go your way and it could have been your map. But yeah, it will be the exact same here to just try and improve, particularly on the eLITEnergy side of things. Try and improve on what you put out last time. QWENTRY could do the same though, right? Now that they've got a feel for the team, you're on the same maps, they already won them. Could be even more one-sided, in fact, if everything goes to plan. So yeah, I'm certainly feeling good about this one. For QWENTRY, once again, that's the way that we're leaning, I would imagine. But it's one of the things, man, when you're spamming out so much Counter-Strike, you can get a little bit lost, you can get a little bit confused, and I'm not sure how much time and practice and things they're actually doing. You know what I mean? That it's just more like spamming out the officials as much as possible. So there is a world in which there's kind of a switch up here. eLITEnergy realize they're pretty damn close to a very good spot and some really nice prize money for them as well, actually. And just able to anti-strat and learn from their previous mistakes.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. It's exact same veto, but also not even just the same maps picked. The exact same veto process, like Mirage and Inferno banned, and over Dust 2 picked, then Ancient and was banned, and Nuke left over, like same exact order, no change. And if anything, that might add furthermore to kind of like where our expectations lean in this being kind of the same exact result. Maybe if not even a bit stronger as well. Like I do feel like this eLITEnergy side, they've had some like nice-ish moments, you know, recently, but I can't really expect anything to change. And I've caught enough of QWENTRY at the moment where I do think they're putting together some pretty nice CS. Like they've played some decent games recently when I've kind of been tuning in with them. You know, we've been covering them a fair amount in terms of some of their online games, and yeah, they look pretty solid. Like, you know, I kind of saw them against the Ecstatic side. I thought that was pretty solid. I caught them against Algo as well, which didn't actually lose that game, but there's kind of like nice moments here and there. I think what else is X Ruby, I'm pretty sure like a week ago I casted that game. So yeah, it's just a side that I feel like are pretty solid. They crop up in a lot of these tier 2 tournaments, and I just think like they've just got a much higher skill ceiling. It really comes down to like, if Sax just plays the way Sax just can play, they shouldn't really struggle that much.
Yeah. No, it's very true, and I think that, you know, there's a lot to consider in a matchup like this and a team like this, really, and it does just feel like QWENTRY have got the reps. And sometimes they run into a team, like a good example is Johnny Speeds, where it's like, okay, they beat them in a 3-mapper about 10 days ago, and then the next time they face Johnny Speeds in, you might argue, a slightly higher stakes situation of ECL, they lost out 2-0, because that's a team, Johnny Speeds can go away, they've got a lot of experience, a lot of firepower, and a lot of resources as well, compared to some tier 2 organizations. They can go away and they can really break down why they lost and why it came close and how they could have won the previous series. And I think, like I say, QWENTRY are not necessarily doing all that themselves. They are just spamming out the games and really trying to stay sharp and feel good. I think, you know, FaceCrack has kind of come in and injected them with a classic style of like, let's slow things down a bit, let's play that final 30 seconds burst, you know, very very synonymous with the CIS style of many years ago when he would have first started playing in like professional Counter-Strike and whatnot. Back in the day, you know, one of the teams I cast a lot, the Fours boys with like Almeza and Jerry, people like this. But yeah, and Exapower at one time, you know, a lot of familiar names within the tier 2 space. I think he's just kind of come in and injected them with a little more structure, not loads, but just enough that it's like teams they're playing against are going to struggle against that style. You know, we have a lot of pick-based Counter-Strike at the level that they've come from, finding that first kill, resting on it, and then just using the numbers in your favor. And I think that QWENTRY are applying a slightly deeper game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Looks like we're just waiting for this one to get out of the way. It's waiting a minute. It's just waiting for the players to ready up, but ever so slightly behind schedule. Hopefully we're here sooner rather than later, like getting this game begun, because I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how it pans out. Like, I just do think both of these sides have at least the making to be pretty scary on their day. eLITenergy, like, I've watched a bit of them, never got the chance to like fully kind of hone in with this side, so this will be a good time to kind of really check in. I guess a good level of opponent, and we're just hearing as well that the players are just readying up, so hopefully, yeah, on the way as soon as. All expectations, as we said, QWENTRY the pretty heavy favourites in towards this, and you know, 39 across both maps in the last time they played. It's not a terrible run, but I think still quite a lot needed to be done in probably the pretty early part of this map to convince me that it won't just be the same result, if not even potentially worse.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, we want to shadow box and just sort of play both sides, but I think it's a little bit difficult to do. For eLITenergy, really, there's just not as much that excites us about this team as compared to the QWENTRY side of things, and I think, yeah, it might just be more of the same. We are into the action. Thank you for the patience on that one. Before getting into things, a few minutes delayed here, but we are indeed into it. Yeah, and I mean, look, it's worth pointing out as well, like, little things like it feels Psycho Doctor didn't have a great series, for example, you know, so there was one or two names for QWENTRY that were maybe letting them down a bit last time, and they still started well. He's heard me immediately now. Yeah. Psycho Doctor opens up the proceedings, looking to play a little better this time around.
In the last time these two sides played, despite kind of cost being the, like, I guess, like, on paper, like, statistical kind of, like, favorite player for the side. It was actually Kissel who put up the highest rating. He was the only one who went a POSA 1 rating. Now, granted, not fantastic. On the flip side, it was Slack's who went pretty nuclear, like a 1.56. So, we're kind of looking to see, you know, if you can do the same thing again here. It's a nice opening start, but a very slow kind of decision following that. Once we spotted in towards mid, the bomb is still loosely in the direction of B.
Certainly curious. Still got to be careful over here. He is slightly weary. He's got like half an eye on the con, but as soon as he takes his eye off it, they're now after him. He does get one traded out, thankfully, because there's another kill that comes around from Keegan. Meanwhile, the bomb itself has completely blindsided them. Seeing this become quite popular, to be honest, over, you know, just the past week or so of, like, teams fully splitting things up and really selling fakes to just get the bomb plant. Is it going to work out? You see what the CTs are doing here. They pick up the pace, try and catch off the players before they're able to get in good positions, before they're able to get together, because the CTs, they're all together.
Wow.
So you get the bomb plant, but the numbers are just far stronger, the shots landing, and QWENTRY with a statement.
Yeah, fair play. Not bad to see at all. And just on the board for this side as well. Gives them a nice little runway. And we will see, but the bomb plant, of course, does mean a buy coming through for that T side. So we got 3 Galils, Mac 10, and a Deagle for cost to round it out. Again, looking for another bomb plant in this one. The spam is great by FaceCrack. He knows his lineups.
Safe to say. Keegan finds one of his own. With an advanced push from 8 being punished. So 4 versus 4 actually feels pretty doable here, I think. I would be in agreement. Looks like they're going to try and hit this B-bomb site. That's enough to work with. Couple smokes, molly, and a flash. And the B site itself is pretty weakly defended, you know, so it should be another bomb plant here for eLITEnergy.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sneaking out now, flashing. It's double stacking towards site water. Can be chaos. It's Boss for 2. Again, Molly will make the plant a little harder, but plant still should come through nonetheless.
Bomb has been planted.
There it is. Actually kind of a difficult retake here.
Yeah. I don't think it's looking too good. The booster, a nice idea. There's nobody on the other side of it. And, well, a loud drop down maybe spells the end, as they will be located. And, you know, you can probably figure that out, that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're going for the boost. They're both in at short. So you kind of lose all elements that you had to work with. Damn. Pretty nice. eLITEnergy, big round for them to be stealing away. They keep the rifles alive. And, of course, they break that back. It's probably the worst position a CT side can, like, ever be in. Thankfully, it comes right at the start of the game. That's maybe the only saving grace of it, is that you've got rounds to work with. But
yeah, but then
money
it's also,
is just fully in the bin.
It's T-side overpass as well, right? So, like, it's that kind of, like, even compounding maybe a little bit worse, where not only is it a terrible spot to kind of lose a round and you know, squander a chance at the start of the top, but it's just the fact that there's this map specifically, the most CT-sided map in the pool by quite some margins, like 54.8% CT-sided, and then you let a round like that slip away. Absolutely gonna hurt. Squeeze out a 5 for the CT side. We'll see what they can do with it. Scout out could still be a little precarious. Double MP9s, of course, are always scary if overlooked, but I feel like I need a bit of fortune in this round to make it stick.
You're right. You definitely
if they get an immediate response,
correct
though,
about that. Yeah.
then eLITEnergy are in a lot of trouble themselves.
Yes, I think I would like to see a little more opening kill creation out of this round, to be honest. The setup doesn't feel all that exciting. Don't think they've got many creative ideas going on. Just waiting to see how the round plays out. Aiden at door, decent idea, but they're way further up con than that. They are going to be pretty far up long here. There's FaceCrack pivoting from front to side. Oh, flash comes in. It's behind him. He does get away with one. Surely not able to survive much longer, though. They had him surrounded. 1-for-1 trade. The big info gather with only 30 seconds left. Could be a pretty big deal here, actually.
Abaraju. Big kill from him. They'll dip back down. They're going to go hunting. He couldn't get any more, but the damage down towards Keegan at the very least. They're diving back towards B. It's a foot race in which the T side will win. Gets out in front of the molly. Psychoductor is very lucky. And this is still really chaotic. Bomb will go down. And you'd assume this should be done, but that might have just brought them back into it. Both are trying to make their way in from CT. The boost that'll come through. Scout spotted out. Can't hit the shot. And now it really is all on MP9 to bail them out.
Yeah, just a real lack of kit here is the big thing. They don't have a smoke anywhere. So it's just not looking too good, honestly. Maybe hoping to find someone overfacing. There is a slight one, but they just don't have time. They don't have time. Take all the players down. May well get away here. It's going to be a little tight, but I think they should just get out of range of that bomb. I mean, it's close. It's damn close. Nearly getting around that corner. 5 more HP points, maybe. Either way, AK makes it out. They take all the players. but maybe a conversation in there. I don't know what happens to Slacks, Jez. That's kind of the big one for me. It looks like he peeked into Banana when Aberagi was behind them. And I think if he stays alive, they maybe think about A, or the B site is not as easy. You know, they kind of pause. But because they found that kill, they found Connector. They were like, go B, man advantage, you know, and just able to work from it. That's the big kill.
Yeah, they're like giving that gap to scale, which initially looked like they were going to really have to like fight for it. It's sort of, it feels like giving it maybe a little bit for free compared to how initially it was feeling. The good news is, of course, still getting all of those like kills coming through. Like, it is pretty damning towards the econ, but shall see. He's very careful here. Molly will come over. He'll peek. He'll lose his life. A-Track will scoop up the AK. Great nade. Really nice nade. A hell of a lot of damage on towards good F and Gissel.
Yeah, some good finds here. The spam through the smoke as well. Really well timed. Gissel, nice position. Psycho Doctor not expecting more. So that's the more egregious one, right? That was the force out from QWENTRY. Doesn't come anywhere near. Now they're going to be on the eco, and sure, you've been like close and whatnot, but I think you just need to level off the score line. It's going to be 4-1. If you lose the first rifle, we're looking at like 6-1 on the T side already. I think a really not awful, but certainly a small mismanagement of this economy so far.
It slightly reeks of like desperation in the early part of this game, and maybe unnecessary. You know, you lose against the force, reining yourself back in and getting in towards the buy as soon as feels like the right call. But I think it's probably also partly the fact that they're getting like kind of close, and you know, we speak about this a lot, that like a lot of force buys and a lot of these maybe what feel like kind of slightly wacky rounds come from like the real confidence, like we are actually better, so like, you know, we can make it work with lesser weaponry. There's probably that mental for QWENTRY, like, you know, we've already beaten them once, we're actually just like we're a better team, like, you know, I can do this with MP9s. And then when you get like 4 to 5 kills on the round as well, even despite losing it, you're like, oh, next time I'll get it, next time I'll win it. And that keeps happening to them, which is where this slight mismanagement has come through. Was an opening kill by the CT side, but 2 pretty easy ones. Gifted back over to eLITenergy.
Steps third. So these 2 players in and around Divider will be ready for a fight coming their way. Oh man, knives out, mates out. It's awkward. Nearly works out there. For Face Crack in particular, but not today. Psycho Doctor, back-ended dice, might go a little overlooked. They might not expect another player in on the A-bomb site. He gets one to save himself from full embarrassment, but certainly worked for him. All the same, really moving quick here for eLITenergy, 4-1. And as I say, a really key rifle coming in. I mean, the story has to be QWENTRY just slamming this rifle. Like, yeah, as soon as we get guns, we are just way better. But if that's not the case here, and if the round goes against them, we do start to open that door, man. We do start to open that conversation of like, okay, perhaps the work has been done by eLITenergy to make this series, the second time of asking, much more competitive.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like, you know, despite being quite early in the game, it's like an incredibly important round to come through. Psycho Doctor, open up proceedings. That's good to see. But let's take a little bit of damage. Just be careful not to overextend. It's been a bit of a common thing. Ever so slight overextensions by the CT side. And again, it comes from like, you know, real confidence in themselves, which is inherently a good thing. But at times, making their life a hell of a lot harder. In a slow map start as well for Finn. 0-5 for him.
Yeah. Not needed, maybe? You know? Maybe could have been needed in this round, though, to just find one. Big damage.
Oh, yeah.
Psycho Doctor feeling good. I mean, look, I definitely feel he's spurred forwards. These guys had his number last time. But this time, looking much, much better.
Just needed the proper guns out. Like we said, right, for the CT side, like it was, you know, you have to make this reinvestment back in emphatic here. This has to be a real statement or, you know, we will get a little concerned. And there we go. That's what we wanted to see coming through from them. So great work. With that being said now, chance to recover a lackluster start in towards this. They can. Maybe a little bit of the sky's the limit.
Lining up and ready. Much more contact heavy this time. Bursting into B. Oh, yeah. Is there a response here? I mean,
put your util
definitely
away, mate.
caught off. Baraju just inside this smoke could be pretty damn scary, I think it's safe to say. They do not expect him now. He does get traded out, but God, they're all over the place on the T side right now. Comms, I would imagine, an absolute mess. But sometimes it doesn't matter. Finn on the board, and Finn looking for the 1 versus 3. Is he going to get it here? He's so healthy. H moves on to the M4, tries to catch him and does. I think there's maybe a reload in there being baited or pulled off. I'm not quite sure. But
he heard him reloading, so that's why he rushed forward.
Yeah. Finn with a fat finger, maybe. I don't know that he needed to go for that.
No, he ran out of ammo.
He did.
He ran out of ammo when he tapped, when the AWP like peaked. You heard the click of like,
there's
the gun.
a little click there. Yeah, there's a little click there on that initial spray down. Damn, that is unlucky.
Small error, I guess, technically, with like ammo mismanagement, but
I mean, what are you going to do? You've already sprayed down 2 guys.
Yeah, exactly. Technically speaking, his job was done. 1 round game, but the buy is less than adequate. 1 AK, 1 Galil, and the AWP. Double Tech 9 for Kissel and Good F. Should be a tie game. Or a piece if all things go to plan. Let's see if they do. Geeking going to get boosted up for a peeking towards mid, but nobody present for now.
Cause with a lot of space. Oh, man, that's a dangerous fight. Slacks goes as well. Maybe sticking around a bit too long. Has taken down 8, stops them in their tracks with his AWP. But still going to feel good about that kill and all this bathroom's control that they've now found themselves.
Yeah. 1 minute on the clock. No decision made just yet. I like this little scale by Face Crack. It's a great little information play. Because of him moving so far forward, it's drag rotation back down towards B, which is absolutely the right call. And if anything, he might catch his AWP play. I mean, he can hear this. So, AWP dead. Then spots Kissel. And that's also the bomb as well. But, I mean, he basically already knows that it was kind of a fake towards A. That they were trying to head towards B. And that's what the trade comes through.
Oh, and Baraju had a chance. He still got that bomb down, but then the immediate face. This will maybe overzealous. Finn's here on the trade. However, head spotted. Another reload situation for him, but he's in another 1 versus 3 ultimately, and this time he's gonna get it done. Great finds from him, as he will indeed net a key round, you know, keeping the lead for that T side.
That's it. That's it indeed. Yeah, fantastic work. I love that kind of like brazen kind of cross with the bomb. Like, it's so risky, but the fact that it works out. Yeah, fantastic stuff. I mean, honestly, 5 rounds here on the T side. Like, I'm pretty happy with this.
I think that's valid. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I'd be satisfied on the 5 rounds. Definitely workable. And also just seeming to have, for want of a better word, just the first one that came into mind, the energy about them in this matchup, you know? That it really does prove that they have, in my mind, gone away, done some learning.
Yeah.
And, yeah, bringing a much better game of Counter-Strike here than what was expected. Just a couple remain as they tried to do some damage. They take a couple kills away, of course. That M4 actually can make it out here, so that's kind of nice as well. Bit of a net positive overall for the ecoing CT side. Obviously not going to win the round.
Exit as well by Koss. Yeah, QWENTRY actually looking in a fair decent amount of trouble here. This has not been exactly the start that they wanted. Last time out on their opponent's map pick, he didn't really struggle, didn't have any issues. But either way, at a 6-3 scoreline, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing from eLITenergy. This is a side that are actually stringing together some very decent CS at the moment. And like, especially if you lose this round, like QWENTRY, you're actually then in a lot of trouble. Like taking a deficit on your T side of Overpass, like on your C side of Overpass is not a good spot to be in. And it just feels like that we've never really seen this side properly wake up just yet.
Slacks Jez, winded up, and will get taken down. He's not having a great game. That's one of the big things, I think, for QWENTRY. They don't have their usual safety net to rely on. 4-on-4, though. Ambaraju spotting some toes. Ooh, and he fakes a bit of a run back. Are they going to expect this? Just really cheeky aggression. They do manage to take him down, as it will be a pretty hefty lead to now work with.
So, Yssel holding for an aggression from Connector. QWENTRY, I mean, if you lose this round, yeah, I think you've got to take an attack time out. In a really problematic spot if you don't. Let's get in towards A. And to be fair, there is a flank brewing, but it might actually be a bit late here. They've got the right read on this. The molly will get a shot through the smoke as well. And the flank might mean absolutely nothing. He's also been spotted out now without punishing.
Ooh, face crack. Clean. Is he thinking about it? I think he is. Getting pretty close here. Just charging in. Upshot rings off. Maybe putting himself in a position of getting this done. I mean, just frustratingly looking for angles. They're not really revealing themselves. It's just too strong of a plan. He's actually getting the kills. He doesn't have a kit. He will tap away. Look to try and find this final kill. Not going to happen. He did retrieve a kit, though, actually. So maybe he could have been a bit close. I think it was under Optimus. That's what he was shooting at. I was trying to figure out like what the hell he was shooting at. I think he shot the kit out from under Optimus. But either way, not going to fully convert that. And it keeps going for the T side here.
Yeah, in a good spot. Well, 7-3. This has been a fantastic T side. I don't really have any complaints at all. And just a really quite concerning position that we find ourselves in. For a QWENTRY side that never really felt awake. Enough holding. like for a spot like now, I probably won't get too much of an opportunity.
But obviously desperate on the QWENTRY side of things, you know, like they're really just playing the cheese, it feels like. I have had a little look. Both these teams are a bit more T-sided, and eLITenergy substantially 54%. I feel like that's a decent run, but they are winning a lot of games, so maybe that's why, because they've like got a pretty clean T-side to work from. But we'll find out if that applies. We were just kind of expecting QWENTRY to be in control of things. Sure, it might have been like a potential 7-5 in their favor or an 8-4, but this has been way more one-sided. Way more T-sided. Psycho Doctor. Close. And they're not expecting him at all. A double swing now falls through. They look to eliminate many. And I was going to say they should get away with that. It's a good spray down from Keegan. There's just too many for him to deal with. They did certainly overface into him, but they're not punished in the end for it.
Yeah. Caught in the reload, but that's about that. That being said, you get one back. I feel like you have to get a fifth. You get on 8-4. I don't really believe that you've got that much of a chance. We shall see. Still a pretty large concern for, in my mind at the very least. Diving through, Tech9 flying out, good enough trying to find this Barrels player. He's just a couple of inches to the right-hand side, which means he isn't hit the shot. Trades will come through, but they haven't cleared Barrels. Psycho Doctor's here. He'll get to 8 will close it out, 7-5. So QWENTRY do get the necessity of a fifth, but still a lot needed to be done in that second half before I start to believe. For now, we're going to head to a break. We'll see you soon.
We are back in, of course, here, looking good on this second half. Excited to get into things as QWENTRY. Honestly, I don't know, man. The economic choices is kind of the thing that really stood out to us.
Yeah.
In the early stage, trying to stay hot. They, took a lot of players. They had a round that they lost, but killed everybody else and survived with like an AK, I think. And they tried to really, really scramble the coppers together and keep the buys going, but it just meant that eLITenergy were able to put quite a large gap between them and their opponent in the end, and then their opponent had no money left. So yeah, really big gap before things truly got going.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just not convinced really at all. Like it's just been very strange in terms of the decision making for QWENTRY, and I think it's ended up costing them obviously quite a lot. And yeah, I mean now we have like a really quite difficult T-side that they've got to build themselves back up into. Like I really wonder what things look like for now, of how do we kind of recover this for them. A nice popping towards the B site would be lovely. Good if it's sort of in transition. They overlook barrels. Oh no! Brilliant work. A shutdown, an 8th as well for the CT side, and for eLITenergy now surely this is the runway required.
Yeah, you would definitely think so. It's a pretty scary look. As QWENTRY, mistakes creeping in, maybe some overconfidence, and we did say that this could be one of the things that leads to a bit of a downfall here this evening. And I think it certainly is the case that it's just like these guys are believing it should be another quick and easy 2-0, but it's not going to be the case. And one of the benefits, one of the conversations, is it better to spam the games out and be super warm, super sharp, and just really trusting in the process? Or is it perhaps a bit better, as eLITenergy are able to do, to just play your regulars, but have a lot more free time, a lot more practice time, not necessarily free time, but, time away from officials, I should say. And I think the work has been done, the adjustment has come in, and it's not super deep. You can't really see without the microscope like what they are absolutely trying to do here and what they might have changed about their game, but they just feel more prepared this time around.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's gun runs everything for QWENTRY. It's pretty now or never-ish, with kind of where we're at. I mean, you lose this, 10th go the way of the CT side, the 11th kind of behind it as well. Before you know it, like, it's all but done. Now let's see, but QWENTRY's just been so uninspiring. Oh, nice shot there from Zlaxajez. We've spoken about him. He's been absolutely missing in that first half, and probably large in part as to why this side have been struggling so much. But let's see, Molly over. It will come down a little bit too late to deny Abaraju planting, but it will catch him and kill him.
It's true. Could make a difference, but the fact that they've managed to get the plant in, and what is going on here? Why are we so far away? I guess they are just soft conceding.
Yeah.
As these players are absolutely miles away from the action, just nothing that they can really do about it. That is a wild game state, bro, that, they're just, despite a quick trade and everything, unable to even set up for exits, it feels like. It's really, really far away and kind of a misread of the situation. So, QWENTRY, T-side, get in there as quickly as they can, running the game. There is a world in which this flips the other way if they're not careful.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Three-round gap. And in this predicament as well. Pretty interesting to see how the response is for eLITenergy if they start to feel a bit of pressure. Because they haven't really felt that much pressure, like, all the way throughout this game thus far. Will they start to spur things on? Rotate towards B seems to be at least the early play, but they're setting up some mid-presence too. And Psycho Doctor can now take connector control, which gives them quick rotations.
Seem weary of someone on the other side, on the right-hand side, particularly of Monster. Maybe spotted across of at least one, but it's the AWP, and then there's another player behind him. Flash coming in for this. Oh, man. Slacks just goes early. And he finds both. That's crazy. Catches them off guard. Catches one playing anti-flash for a flash that never comes. Crazy find. Slacks Jez is alive in this round. Oh, my goodness. 4-piece for him before being taken down. And Kissel they know about. Down he will go pretty easily. Only one player being lost. Slacks Jez has not been in this map, but he might just have woken up.
That's a huge time as well to step up, and the fact that it's with only the one casualty, fantastic work. Really, really nice to see, and it's a huge confidence boost over a round. So now, definitely some worry to be had of eLITENERGY, who are squandering things a little bit. Last time they played, they only got to 9 rounds. They might be cursed. 39 across both maps. Surely it can't be the same after the fantastic start that they had, but I don't know, I feel like you can never discount them. This QWENTRY side, when they really start snowballing, they're difficult to stop, and that's how they've won a lot of games recently. They get this momentum, even if it is late in towards a game, and they just run with it. 2-round game. Well, considering that the bye is all but non-existent. Should be a simple 8 from the board here for QWENTRY.
Nades raining in. All to no avail, of course. Nobody's home. But they make sure of that. A dry run off the B execute. As the bomb will go down. And I think we have a little triple boost thing brewing up there by the looks of it. Yeah.
Oh! Only briefly.
No, we don't. Yeah. He didn't even see anything. Face Crack was very ready. All these types of boosts are, I'm sure, making the rounds as the Overpass gets ever popular. More and more played maps to work off of. And the M4, of course, it's an eco strat. You know, we see it quite a lot. Get that M4 into a cheeky boosted spot.
Need to hold at that tail end, but nothing will be found. Cost, at the very least, for him, a consolation. And the Mach 10 scoop, though. Guess you can take that. One-round game as we come back into the bye. Very much in that now or never predicament. I mean, again, eLITENERGY, you lose this. Money broken once again. You've lost your lead. And it is that snowball from QWENTRY that we forewarned. It's a very, very scary predicament. So far on the C side, they're looking very confident. Like, they're not looking like they're under too much pressure, which I really thought they would be.
It is true. We see it a lot, though, don't we, man? When they're able to just run the game and play the rounds out, you often see these T-sides finding a lot more success than you would expect, you know, for a map like this, and just kind of the way the game works, rather. Generally, a team has a lead going into the CT side. It's like, okay, you expect them to close it out. T-side can be a bit harder. If you've really struggled to get into the game, feels like that's going to continue being the case, but you can see these guys just totally comfortable in their own T-side. They are a man down here, though. Going to roll straight into A. Look at the speed of that execute, right, as they're able to get the nades out, get the smokes out on the run almost, and just completely overwhelm. The scaling is so good from QWENTRY, and might still be even, but they're in full control of this A-bomb site.
Yeah, they are. The remaining 3. I mean, even in a 3 vs 3, this is still so dicey to get back into. They know... Well, I was going to say they should know there's one close left. He was fighting through that smoke earlier, but... He overlooked the angle. Apparel is in behind and 1 dead to right. And Keegan knows that last man alive, a known quantity, and it's just not worth losing that AWP. QWENTRY will tie up this game. 9 apiece. They can barely buy around. Got AWP as well. Consolation kill, you take those. But only briefly. Huge round for QWENTRY. Not only taking it, but the way in which they take it. So expensive over towards their opponents. They're in fine form right now.
Yeah, looking very, very good in the process. And I mean, now we start to ask the question about maybe taking a moment, and they will indeed do that. So, yeah, really, really astute stuff. I think eLITenergy understanding that the game is slipping through their fingers.
Yeah.
This is one of those, again, where it could be a very practical sort of timeout. Are you going to patch holes, or are you just simply talking about what you're doing with the money and who's buying what and who's going where? Do you have as much time to talk over your issues in a timeout like this?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a valid question. Double M4, MP7, double 5.7. Oh, then. And the good news is it's not a full investment across the board. The bad news, it's a bad start. 1-for-1 trades are okay, but they've got to go positive in a lot of these trade engagements if they want a chance of turning around like this on its head.
It's true. Was with a nice find. Does not make it out. So can they find that key engagement? The M4 could be recoverable around that corner for Keegan. Guess all they know about. Do they want to head towards him, or do they want to play it safe? Well-timed smoke. Actually in both extremities. So that might just start to make their decision for them. Can they find a way to wait around? Do they have the patience for it? Or are they potentially looking towards an A play? It does seem like they are just going to wait these smokes out and still head B.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea. They might try and, you know, assume that it's sort of attention drawn away. Well, back towards there they go. 30 seconds. They got just about enough time to work with. Starts well for 8. Great find from him. Oh, and he makes it a second as well. That's big. Smoke will come down, and Finn, you assume surely no chance in a 1 versus 3. 8 has bailed them out of what was looking like kind of a dicey round for a while, considering the buy that eLITenergy had to work with. You know, that double M4, double 5, you know, that 5.7. It was a kind of a weird half to full investment. And in the end, especially if they can walk away with 3 staying alive, that's actually a pretty decent recovery from QWENTRY, who are looking like they're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
God, 8.
Finn,
what a round. 4 kills.
Yeah, true. Very big round from him. Finn taken down as well is also a pretty big deal. I think it's safe to say. QWENTRY moving up to the double digits, and yeah, it's just really turned upside down. Did fear this. And unfortunately, the prophecies come true a little, that QWENTRY as a T-side unit, which I think we've seen a lot from them, actually. Their T-sides are a bit more effective. Just really great. Lots of fast executes and very simple. Not that deep. You might not see the best smoke of the week kind of thing coming into their executes, but might be the odd gap here or there. But they will have a clear-cut game plan, and just... they know what they are doing. You know, it's like, we're forcing a kill in these particular areas. How do we make that happen, right? It's not super complex, but it works very, very well for them.
Oh, Keegan. As he is back in. Good on AWP. What's he going to do with it? This is kind of the eternal issue that eLITEnergy are on at the moment, which is sort of like 4 buy in, failure to find any success, eco rinse and repeat. It's a horrible spot where you're in such a run. There's nothing you can do to deny it. So I can take bathrooms control.
I like what they might be cooking over there. Definitely keeping eyes on Face Crack. He is going to drop back and look to join the rest of the team, who are attempting to hit B. Good Def was very ready for these fights to come in, though. He does get taken down. Has he bought enough time? Created enough space? Maybe not. Finn is the one that maybe lets us down. Psycho Doctor on the other side of that very same pendulum is just cracking heads. Dishing out damage and forcing the save for the remainder of the CT side once again. This is absolute domination right now.
Yeah, I really haven't seen a T side on Overpass look as clean as this. Like, a lot of these like really punchy rounds, they're absolutely excellent. There like really is not a lot of things I can critique about it. It's a tough watch from eLITEnergy side that have unfortunately fallen so unbelievably flat. Kessel and Keegan will save, which is okay, but man alive, where have eLITEnergy gone? If I'm right in saying, I can't remember if they've got one more time out. They used all 3. I know they used one kind of early. I think they've used all 3 like tack timeouts, I'm pretty sure. Which, with that being said, is damning.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yeah, wild. I mean, really difficult to deal with at the end of the day. And I think there's going to be a few problems for the eLITEnergy side of things if they just can't figure it out on the fly. And like I say, I think a lot of their timeouts come in a bit more softly in a way. But it's difficult.
Yeah, it is,
to say the least. I just don't think there's enough like ideas being thrown around that it's like, okay, let's get aggressive in this way, let's change this up, and they just maybe don't have that in their locker necessarily. They do have a coach, you know, to come in behind them and whatnot, which at this kind of rank you wouldn't necessarily expect. eLITEnergy comes through as their coach, but I'm pretty sure this is sort of like his first job, as it were, within the space. So, you know, is he able to turn things around against a team like QWENTRY? Potentially not. Contact flash. Actually ineffective, but still allows Cos to find the kill. He will be traded into the 4 versus 4 now, as we find ourselves in a winnable position for the CT side.
Oh my god, the orb was holding that angle. And it's Keegan who, like, for half a second sort of falls asleep or is considering like transitioning in terms of the position to hold, and at half a second will cost you your life. Face Crack, can you clear close right? Yes, and somehow stays alive. Like, all the bits of fortune are going their way.
Oh, Molly does actually reach Def. He's forced forwards into a fight that he didn't want, but he still wins it out. 2-on-2 now, all of a sudden. I thought with that, you know, good Molotov would just make life very easy for QWENTRY to clean this up. 8 working around the smoke, and you know he's gone completely unseen. They have half an eye on his position now, and he ain't fast enough. The scope certainly heard there as well. So, free fire from Finn makes it difficult, and there you are, right at the tail end of, oh man, you can't stop them now. You know, they've got an overtime, they've got the map victory just around the corner. They managed to find a key round, so maybe not over just yet.
Yeah, not dead just yet, but still concerning. In that 1-round game, you would assume that it's easier to chain things a little bit on this T side, on the CT side, may I say, considering the map itself, but we just know the threat that are QWENTRY, so hard. This is a nice start. Opening double's huge. One for Cost, one for Good F, and QWENTRY tried to go for a slightly pacier round again, and it's actually going to end up costing them, and potentially might lead to tying up this game.
Yeah. Very, very close now. Going to need to really pull their finger out for this potential B hit. It's on the contact. Not fast enough. Reveals himself as well, which is difficult. Yeah, do you want to continue going that way or not? There's a long flank coming in, but a good one from Cos. One that he's certainly able to work with. Kissel on the other side of Con, so looks like he will be the first line of defense. Spots him, drops back. That's all you can really ask. Is there anything else on the cards for this T side? He's playing super safe, and again, Cos could be a great activation into the late round, just a real contingency plan. It seems like they're really wanting him to get activated as well, as Kissel gives up full control of that A-bomb site. Still loses his fight, though, despite being so far back.
Oh.
And they were weary. Where is the rest of the A defense? It looks like he was running away. He was trying to play safe because he's got no friends. He's got someone on the way, but not quite yet. And they've read that very, very well to bring it back into the 3 versus 3.
If you lose this round, by the way, by getting the opening 2 kills in the first 20 seconds, you deserve to lose this map, and that'll be the case. 8 gets 2, Psycho Doctor with one of his own to see it off at the end. It's 8 with another multi-kill round from him, and yeah, this eLITenergy side, you deserve to lose this map. Losing that round, that's the nail in the coffin. Opening double come your way, you've got complete control over both sides, and you let it fumble. That is really, really poor to see. And,
on Overpass as well,
yeah,
right?
there's not really many more excuses I can make for them. Like, this CT side is poor. And you actually get this a lot with, like, these slightly more mixier teams where their T side is the strength, but it's their CT side which is the weakness, because it requires, you know, the teamwork and the synergy and playing off each other. But seriously damning. Cost goes 1 for 1.
Big damage onto Slaxajez could come into play. Like in this, right? Some proactivity to try create a kill. Psycho Doctor chasing. I have to respect it in a certain sense, but also question it in another. I think that could cost them in a big way. Surely not another man disadvantage situation going to go their way, right? How many times can you really rely on that? We've got light fake out towards the A side. Oh, and it is working. Good Def is making a move through this smoke, which they are watching. The AWP will take him down. He's got to be careful not to catch a spam. Meanwhile, it could actually be an A hit, right? They have a lot of options available right now. Keegan is smart and aware, trying to stick around, and he knows, he smells a rat. And he would indeed be correct. So down to the 1 versus 3 now.
Oh, and seen off as well. So now, full 24. That question resides of OT or a squander from eLITenergy. You know, we've critiqued them plenty in the second half in particular, but I mean, let's take a look. If they can take it to overtime and get that great reset and then give themselves a bit of a chance, then maybe, just maybe, we might start to believe once again that it was some hiccups along the way, but back at the levels we want to see or whatnot, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah, it's tough to say. It is tough to say. I feel like this could go to overtime, though, honestly.
Yeah.
I just think that QWENTRY have made a few mistakes.
Yeah, they're like live and die by the sword a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see. One last hurrah in towards the B-bomb site here. Is it going to be the last one, I suppose, is the question. CT's looking good. Finn finding 2. And it's going to be down to 8 to clutch things up, and he cannot get it done. Overtime is indeed required for this one. So maybe a reset like that. eLITenergy able to just keep them in the conversation, despite the fact that like the mid portion of that second half was insanely dominant in favor of QWENTRY. The fact that they've remained resilient here is really, really commendable. And yeah, it might be the reset that they need going into the OT.
Yeah, exactly that. I think kind of like from what we've been seeing, it's like really great to get kind of QWENTRY to that kind of position where it's like you've actually recovered this, but you spoke about it. It's like a couple of mistakes here and there and a couple of things where they squander chances, and in doing so, there's maybe still a little bit of worry where eLITenergy could be okay, but that's a fantastic start. Swinging a fire from face crack. Costs overly aggressive. That'll cost them man advantage. Nahid will be traded, and Kissel takes a fair decent amount of damage. Ooh.
Heats has remained pretty consistent for me.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Especially in a world where Slaxjez has just not been as reliable. Woke up pretty well into that second half, but, you know, you're going to need somebody to pick up the slack. And 8 has been there, but also Psycho Doctor.
Yeah.
Not usually a name that's towards the top end of the scoreboard, so good from him. Slaxjez aware, though, as they just really check all their angles nice and cleanly. Keegan left on the AWP. It's maybe one of, like, 3 situations in which you could justify an overtime save, you know? 1v5, got the AWP on the CT side. Even then, is he going to get to do that? Facecracker's got other ideas. Just off to his right, so
he's close.
He's trying to find the weirdest save place possible. Oh, he doesn't have a kit. I can kind of sniff out what he's trying to do here. There is one down. Slaxjez takes him.
Turns around. Oh,
Stray man with the knife in hand.
Yeah, it might have even been like a bit of like a saving in plain sight type thing, but either way. Brilliant position that we're in, and for QWENTRY, it's the order loser, right? They're looking for 13. They can't get it in regulation. You know, we're coming towards OT, and immediately they put a pretty dominant one on the board. Another one casualty. You'd be very, very happy with that.
Oh, man.
That's a bold fight. Face crack.
That is a bold fight.
He's been relentless, but maybe overly so, as he'll lose his life.
Yeah, trying to chase down that player that was just hella blind, who maybe should have died initially. He does eventually go down, but yeah, it's well recovered in a sense, as, you know, the best of a bad situation. I think it's safe to say. Keegan with the old smoke block. I think it still does the job. And quiet moves up long from both teams, it would seem. Slaxjez is making a bit of noise, maybe trying to draw attention to him on purpose. CT's not quite biting just yet. It's the AWP around the corner. It could be unexpected here. Slaxjez spotted. Oh, it's nearly all of it for Kissel. Not quite, however. The numbers look good here now. I really do feel confident in this CT defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Leg spotted. Kill found. Bomb goes down. Maybe let's not discount. Oh, never mind. I was going to say let's not discount 8s just yet. But, I mean, this is like next to impossible for him to win because he can't really plant anywhere safely. I don't know why he's looking long. He should know where both of them are. Bunch of numbers. 6 to plant. That'll end up costing him his life. Nice round in response, and like you mentioned, it felt like that for kind of a while. Like the majority of that round, eLITEnergy always had a bit of a stark advantage, and even despite that kill by 8, that gives them a chance to plant. That flank was so quick. CT side, get it back in blood.
Egan. Patience pays off. Lovely find. Can he make it out here? Knows they're going to be after him. He's kind of made his bed down there and looks to maybe even take another kill. Meanwhile, the remainder of QWENTRY quite quickly up long, trying not to alert anybody here with the wide berth. Calls on the corner. I feel this spot, and maybe it is good for players coming in from like the short pathway, but I just think it's so bad now.
Yeah.
Because you can be seen so easily like that.
Like that, for example.
I just don't really think... Yeah, exactly. I just don't really think it's very workable anymore. Keegan can't spot out that player in the fire. That is a shame. He's done what he can here. Needs the rest of the team to hold the line.
Nade comes a little late. Response won't do all too much. 8's right idea with the hold. Keep eyes trained on this flank. They're basically struggling to get out from stairs here. This is the real issue that's holding them back a little bit. Re-smoke that'll come through. Oh, the 8's been holding all that time. It doesn't matter in the end. It looked like he was holding all that time. The moment he unscopes, might get punished for it. Thankfully, wasn't the case. But advantage QWENTRY. But they now go back in towards the CT side, which inherently they had issues with. So normally, by any metric, you're going in towards your CT side with an advantage. For most teams, this would be a good thing. But as you saw from the first half, maybe not so much. So who knows? Still anybody's game.
Yeah, no, it is true. And I mean, it for a while has felt like that is the case. And then for a short portion, felt like it was eLITEnergy's game, honestly. QWENTRY with some domination, pulling it back, but not quite convincing enough in the end. Some really great rounds in there, but I think they have just made quite a lot of mistakes in this opening map so far. But we'll find out in time.
Unfortunately, time for a tech pause. We've had a couple of them in this game, but they've generally been pretty quick. I mean, we've been speaking about this kind of a fair decent amount. It feels like a few more of these tech issues have been creeping in, but they generally come from basically players fixing their cameras more than anything. We've just heard mouse battery died.
I can get on that, to be fair. It's been a long map.
Yeah.
You know, get it on charge in between maps if you've been playing all day kind of thing.
I do think
Fair
part
enough.
of me thinks that like players should have like their like mouse and headphones like kind of checked and charged way before the game, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you do the veto, for example, plug it in for 10 minutes and that'll give you like a good couple hours, that kind of thing. But I guess you need to warm up too.
It depends. Honestly, I'll give it a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I think it depends on what, like, some of the mice... If you're on a high polling rate, that eats through battery.
Yeah, true.
I have, like, an 8K polling rate on my mouse, which is, like, a newer... The Death Adder 4, right?
Yeah.
So it's, like, relatively new. So some of these newer mice might even have higher polling rates than that. And I think that can really eat through your battery quite quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you are also a pro player. It's like, come on, boy, figure these things out. You know.
Yeah, it's like
I don't have to.
Like
It's not my job.
being a photographer and then mid photo shoot be like, oh, my camera's run out of battery here.
Gotta
mate.
charge my battery. It's like,
Sorry.
should have like 4 of them though. Surely you knew you were gonna be here this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, that is an awkward turn away. Face crack gets totally caught off there. Trade comes out towards long, but the numbers look pretty good here for the T side. And Keegan has really been the one to watch in overtime, honestly. Really finding some great fights. Some key kills. Putting himself in a spot of quite clear domination at times. Psycho Doctor going to be the only one left. He will potentially save this up, but we'll see.
Again, this is the worries about QWENTRY in the CT side. Like, it has just looked really quite lackluster for them. And seemingly we don't really seem to know why. Like, it shouldn't be as much of an issue, especially because there was like really nice rounds and really nice consistency on towards that T side where they're obviously playing together as a team, where it seems like the comms are pretty clean. That's kind of always the big worry we have. But this isn't like a puggier, mixier side. Like, they shouldn't be having such fundamental issues on their CT side, but
Terrorists win.
once again they are. And tied square again. You make the kind of argument that being on this C side, you might give a bit of the advantage over to eLITEnergy again.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, I think, honestly, and, you know, I'm definitely worried about the CT side as well. Yeah, QWENTRY, it's not quite as convincing in some of these rounds, and I think it is really proving to be a problem closing out and
Yeah, for sure.
continually dealing with eLITEnergy. Nice flash. It's not quite able to create anything. Abaraju, awkward. Shots being missed, bro. We've got two more here.
Wow.
Caught with nades in hand. They've just been totally flustered. Kind of insane to see one to the next, each POV wildly out of place, shots missing, one with a nade out, AWP shot miles off, like it's just a total mess. Slack suggests 7 HP here. Surely not going to happen, and it's another overtime going to be required, and God forbid it could be the map going the way of eLITEnergy.
Yeah, which would be just such a fumble from QWENTRY. But again, like you're saying, like, every POV that we went on to there, missed shot. Same thing again, util in hand, or, you know, not holding for each other. The cross is poorly held, and these are just mistakes that we just don't normally expect out from this QWENTRY side, and it's kind of a shock that we're seeing at the moment. Credit to eLITEnergy, though. I do think this side are making the most of the situation in front of them. Like, this side are going to continue to give you opportunities and continue to play so poorly on the defense. Punish them. Run at them. Like, back yourself. Play with confidence. And I'm not surprised that we're seeing them, in a way, kind of do as well as they are on some of these T-sides executes, because they're just catching the side half asleep. Then she found a round to play here in this map. Oh, another overtime required. We'll have to see, but I'm kind of leaning the way of eLITEnergy taking this, the way they've been playing.
Yeah, no, I am with you, man. And deservedly so. I think they've been put through the ringer, honestly. A lot of different tests for them. They've led. They've recovered. They've done a bit of dominating, been dominated, right? Like, really bounced around, got to the OT. Lost out initially. See a lot of teams very quickly crumble if things don't start going well in OT. It's a different kind of game. Only by 10 to 15%, but it is a different game. But this is a scary round, right? Can they close out here? Will the nerves get the better of them? Nice deep Molotov from Psycho Doctor. Allows him a swing and a look. Smoke comes in. 50 seconds. Not loads of time. Looking on the site itself. We've got the AWP.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we've got the nade strike, though. And that's pretty damn clean. Very well read. The boost now coming in as well is panicked. Could have created something, honestly, but they will perhaps be kicking themselves that they don't do anything with that. Still not loads of time, though. 30 seconds. Eights is melting as he's blinded up. Psycho Doctor also to fall. Face crack's gone down quick, but It doesn't matter. The damage is done. The round is over. The map is over. And eLITenergy take it in overtime, 16-14.
So thoroughly deserved as well. Like, with some of those rounds on their T side, like, you just have to ask questions about what we saw from QWENTRY. Like, they squandered so many opportunities. They looked quite weak in terms of their holds. If you're putting up such a lackluster CT side, then that is the deserved result. So credit to eLITenergy. They take their map pick. They give themselves an advantage in this series. And now things do become kind of interesting because QWENTRY are looking fallible. They're looking beatable. And that's not what we expected, especially because last time out, not even that long ago, in this tournament, QWENTRY won 2-0. So change up. We'll have to see how it affects it. But for now, we're going to go to a break. When we are back, map number 2 up next.
Welcome back in. We are swiftly moving on into map number 2. Heartbreak for QWENTRY, which really does bring a surprising factor, a surprising conversation now into this particular series, because we expected them to look clean, maybe not super plain sailing, but they've already played off against this team. They beat them already on these exact maps that we've got. So yeah, quite a shock. And again, it does just come back to the fact that I think in the early game they won the pistol, right, to kick things off. They lost the following force buy, or anti-force buy in their case, and then just tried to chase with forces and forces. And sure, the rounds were coming close, but they just weren't winning them. And I think that in the end gives eLITEnergy enough of a springboard to work from in order to keep things very close throughout the game. And despite a really great T-side and regulation from QWENTRY, it just wasn't enough to fully close out that map.
It's a really damning sign when we just get such a lackluster CT side. Like, it's such a rarity to have the CT side kind of be as poor as it was. And you know, there's definitely things to critique over towards eLITEnergy. Don't get me wrong, they were far from perfect, hence why we went to overtime. They both had their issues, but I think it's just for QWENTRY, like, we expect a lot more. Aside that, really highly repped at the moment. They play a hell of a lot of CS across a lot of tournaments. Like, they're doing all the right things to kind of climb the ranks within the tier 3 into kind of tier 2, but not with showings like that. And especially if they don't make it towards this grand final, then it becomes really quite spicy. So we'll have to see, but I was, you know, concerned with how poorly things look there, and I don't know. Like, I mean, Dust 2 is a lot better. It's a map in which, you know, QWENTRY play a hell of a lot, as we can see. I think, if I'm right, this is their 44th. This will be their 44th time they play. As you can kind of see, 34 wins. I mean, it's a mental amount of times that they play this Dust 2. Has been such a strength for QWENTRY. But again, on the other side, there's also a lot of tape for eLITEnergy to look at. And they've already played against them once. They lost 13-9 off the back of the confidence of taking map number 1. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, anything feels like it is possible now, right? It's one of those situations that, like, everything we try and lean on and make it make sense is kind of part of our job, right? And we've tried to do that, and then it's just ended up not making sense in the end with the way that they end up panning out on map 1, and kind of some of the strength that we've seen a little bit from the side of eLITEnergy. There's something to them. I think, again, they play like a pretty basic fundamental game, but it did also feel on an individual level. That's another thing that comes into question, right? Like, Keegan was really great in the OT towards the end, and just a couple better riflers showing up more consistently for them. Is that going to happen again on Dust 2? It could, but I just think that QWENTRY, as we maybe slightly threw in there as a potential happening, is the fact that they've just not gone away and really shored up their game and been prepared for this particular matchup to make sure that they do absolutely get it over the line no matter what. I think they've come into it, they've gone, okay, we can play the same veto, we can play our Dust 2, which is our merchant map, and we should be fine. And I suppose the operative word in that is should, and it just hasn't quite worked out like that. But with Dust 2 and Nuke coming up next, it's like, you know, come on, they're good on Overpass. Can they take us on the next 2 maps? Highly unlikely. That's kind of how they're thinking. It's dangerous to do that, I would say myself. Like, they have to be very careful, and hopefully losing out on that first map is a wake-up call for them.
Yes, exactly that. Hopefully we should be underway in just a second, but you know, with this game, who knows what to expect. Like, predictions are sort of already out the window. We were both sort of leaning that it should have been that 2-0 taken just like it was last time, and, well, anything but. And as we now head towards the second, I'd still worry for QWENTRY. Like, is this an eLITEnergy side who have sort of figured them out and understood who this side are? And because of that, went off in the locker to really punish. Let's find out. We're diving in towards the B side, and Gudef is really trying desperately, but he can't deliver. Neither can the Doolies. Oh, that's ugly.
Oh, the Glocks starting to suddenly come alive. Damn, Psycho Doctor. Big finds from him. It looks set to be a pistol going the way of QWENTRY, and pretty dominantly here as well, if things go well in the end. But Keegan is on a soft save. He's not feeling this one. So it will be the pistol going the way of QWENTRY. And the force buy not as reliable on that CT side, of course. nonetheless.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see if there's anything else to come his way. Unfortunately not. And he was dead to rights from behind. All the same, clean pistol. QWENTRY picking up in a very, very good place here on Dust.
Yeah, good way to start things off. I think they need a bit of a confidence booster. Is probably the nice way of putting it. After that poor overpass, and especially the ending in towards OT where they fell flat. No buy for the CT side. It's the right call. There's no point forcing here. They went for a gamble stack towards long, and they're just diving out towards B once again. Brilliant work.
One plant coming in. And now the money-making scheme begins for these MAC-10s in particular, of which there are quite a few. So yeah, could really start off well here, actually. Stack round the corner. Molotov coming in will force them into a very awkward spot, and the bloodbath, you would think, begins, but they do actually do well, honestly. Taking 2 kills there.
Yeah,
it's pretty decent, to be fair to them, but it will be that second round pretty quickly for QWENTRY.
Yeah, and it's not like loads of money made, like it wasn't like all the MAC-10, for example, so it's not the end of the world, really. With that being said, in the position that we're in, a 2-0 to start things off for QWENTRY is good, but this first gun round is huge, and it starts well for Psychodoctor diving out with the MAC-10. Another one round that corner. He's trying to spam his way through. Needs to be careful, and they're just dropping like flies. And in the end, only a couple of casualties. Considering how they started, that is a huge response.
That is true. And once the guns come out, you get the immediate round. That's a very good sign for me. So yeah, feeling immediately good about what they might be able to deliver here. Great start coming in from the eLITenergy side. It's just a case of whether it continues, but I think you're going to be quite scared, you know, like QWENTRY, dominant pistol, clean anti-eco, okay, fair enough, get the rifle round. It's alright, this is business as usual. Dust 2 off to a good start, and we are a slightly better team here. It's, you know, more reps and our favourite map and all this kind of stuff. But eLITenergy got a lot going on, and they answer back. And I think QWENTRY will very quickly have the fear put back into them of what happened on map number 1.
Yeah, let's not overplay the cards, so to say. And still, with how well that first gun round was for the CT side, gotta be surely a little bit of worry that kind of potentially creeps in for QWENTRY to not get complacent. Only a force Abaraju back. And then once again reclaim that space. They got decent information. There's one, they know someone towards CT, but he's peeking in. Should be dead right there, but Kissel squanders a chance.
They're getting creative. QWENTRY trying to find another kill if there is one available. Not looking too likely at the moment. Cos hidden away is the big one to watch for me. Quick kill onto Good Def, and Cos actually fluffs his lines. Not 1, but 2 on the cards there for him, and he doesn't get either. Will be severely kicking himself. The B-hold crumbles, and despite all the damage done, they just cannot get any more kills.
Yeah, felt like potentially an opportunity to actually, at least, if you're not going to win the round, like, make it kind of expensive, but, yeah, far from. That being said, QWENTRY, considering it was like a half-ish buy in terms of the investment, like, not a terrible way to walk away from it. Only the 1 casualty. Don't be too upset about that. Goes off, that'll be the round. probably wouldn't hate the idea around taking a breather early doors for eLITEnergy here. Like, just take a moment to have a conversation. You yourself in a bit of a kind of a funky spot in terms of your buy. You can't do it now because this is a tech pause, but just generally speaking, like, I wouldn't mind trying to figure out what we want to do around what we've got saved and how we kind of want to try and make this work for us.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Just got to be careful not to get caught up, right? It's been a game with a lot of forces and a lot of confidence in that sense. They are going to go for it, which is doable, but again, is it one that we agree with? Not bad, but I just think you maybe want to shore things up a little more, in my opinion, you know, somewhere down the middle and put your best foot forward. But we'll see. If they've got a good game plan for it, then maybe. But it's a fantastic response from QWENTRY, honestly.
Yeah. Straight
out on towards B. Great time to go for it when you know they're going to be slightly more conservative with their utility. And, of course, after that timeout, right? You know, it really just works out nicely in the flow of the game.
They're loving that B side, aren't they? And, I mean, you can't blame them, to be honest. With how much success they've had in these last few rounds, just diving out. It's been great to watch. Nothing you can do here for eLITEnergy. And so far, relatively uninspiring. So that's fine from FaceCrack to continue piling on a bit of pressure. Don't let them say for nothing. You've got residual cash to work with. You can afford to go hunting. Even if you do lose a couple of casualties, you're not going to be too annoyed. So, oh, need to go down to the bomb radius, but not before he finds one at the end there. That's nice work.
Looking good. QWENTRY just fully back onto their winning ways. So they have done well to respond. They have done well to stop eLITEnergy from just being in control again like they were on Overpass. And it's QWENTRY the ones that are running the game at the moment. It's going to be that AWP, but ultimately just the upgraded pistols around it. Back to Jez. Just lead the charge. Oh, and it's a little dangerous out here. They're ahead of the smoke and looking for more fights. Keep hitting this B-bomb site until it stops working, I suppose, is the MO of the T side at the moment. One plank going to come in. You might as well give this a go, of course. And there's potentially a flash that could get them through here. Looking for a good position. Keegan's got the flash. They're just not going for it quite yet. Waiting for the right moment. And I think they waited too long, to be honest. And then QWENTRY came to them.
No, 100%. Way too long. And it's another B hit, which is successful. But not only that, it's just the fact that it's successful with breaking that much of a sweat. Like, these are quite damning positions that come through. 5-1. We've really not seen anything from this CT side. I don't know, it's early doors, but unless things change relatively sharpish, like, we're talking about, before we even get to kind of the end of this first half, considering that conversation about the cider. It's just the QWENTRY side that are absolutely loving life at the moment.
Yeah, definitely safe to say here.
Again, like a buy-in here for eLITEnergy. You lose this round, it's like QWENTRY probably getting up to at least 7-1. Yeah. I mean, again, like, it's just, at that point, the best you can get is kind of already like considered subpar. It's a horrible spot to be in. Like, mentally super, super tough as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're right on the corner of things getting one-sided, and then I suppose around that next corner is like things being over in the first half. Lovely boost idea. 8's going to take it. And they will start to scale up in towards A. I mean, Finn's in a good spot to deal with them, it feels like. They do want to be somewhat careful. And they know that. There's a light drop back. But they just have the big man on the inside, who I believe dropped into CT with all these smokes coming in. He's able to catch one. Does leave Keegan alone. He's got the AWP, and he does find a kill. His teammate as well has actually brought the numbers in favor of the CT side. Keegan, a ridiculous find there. It's all going to be down to Abaraju here. 20 seconds in which to do it, and Keegan is looking to really play that clock down, and find themselves an absolutely massive round in the end. So, eLITEnergy looking good, but it's Keegan mainly that looks good.
Yeah. Indeed. Good to see him individually find a form. I mean, he had a really decent first map as well. But cannot afford to be a flash in the pan. We say this so often. Just has to be the start of a bit of consistency. A lot of flashes out towards long. He needs to be careful, and he kind of knows that sticking around is probably not worthwhile. Retract from that position and shell up on towards the A site where he's got the supporter too. But in doing so, QWENTRY have now got long control for free.
It is true. 8's trained in. Oh. This is the shot. Now mid, yeah, it's a very dangerous place. He knows that. Really looking good with the head on a swivel. Keegan, though, is our player on the A-bomb site looking to try and hold things down. Not quite good enough. They have to deal with 8s. And they do. Face crack. How has he not been heard there, bro? That's kind of wild. I mean, Finn with the rotation round, just obviously very loud in the comms and just not got his game sound turned up enough. Those footsteps would definitely have been audible, but he goes down. Still, it's traded. 2 versus 2. It's doable for either side. Great little angle from Abaraju, but it's good def. Makes it interesting. Doesn't recover that kit. Not sure if there is one down on the site. He doesn't have loads of time here. Looking to really take this frag, and I think he will get it, but is there a kit for him anywhere? And the answer is no. He's walked past the kit, and there's just no time. No. Sloppiness from both sides here, man. It really is getting down and dirty with some very, very weak Counter-Strike, I think is maybe the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. And I think kind of like maybe the issue is that because of like how like the ceiling is with these sides, like I just feel like, you know, we talk a lot about like the ceiling being the big difference, but I think also because of the floor, when it gets to being kind of like really ugly and really scrappy CS and it's a bit of a bare knuckle brawl and whatever, maybe because the floor's a little bit higher for QWENTRY, like that's where they're having the advantage in this game right now, and what's making it such a big difference. It's been dicey, fighting towards mid, and again, both sides are just so happy to swing in towards engagements and slightly hope for the best. God damn. It's relentless.
Yeah, they really are, man, when they're on it. I think they just have, like, the trust, the fundamentals. And I always used to call it, like, the unspoken coordination. That it's like, right, we're going A via short. And they're able to just do that all together, very simply, quite puggy. But the trades are there, the spams are there. And it really does look good when it all comes together. And they're able to throw in those mix-ups quite often. We saw it over on B one time. After that timeout, kind of just crushed the hopes and dreams of the chasing buy that we've been seeing both teams go for quite a lot. You know, it's like if they're feeling a bit good or they've got one gun saved, they'll just pull out. The force not quite perfect, but it doesn't matter. And they did a really good job of shutting that down even more.
Yeah, no, agreed. Well, pause of that technical nature. It looks like we're good to get the show back on the road. Already that guaranteed lead, of course, for QWENTRY. But how many more can they build up, considering the buy's going to be low? In round number 10, you expect this one to be pretty simple. A always the case. They've taken long control relatively decently, despite that lesser buy. That smoke that comes through, they're going to set up the 5-7 behind it. So if they try and dive out late, 5-7 has a chance. And the flashes should be avoided because he's so close.
It was a nice setup. I think it could have done something. It might still, as a location, see action, but the pistol's moving fast, you know, wanting frags now.
Whereas QWENTRY don't.
Yeah, they're playing chill.
It's a really nice tempo change. Like a good read on the, I'm assuming, read on the econ situation.
But they are just good at this. And again, I think it's part of the DNA that they try and employ, that like CIS tier 2 style, that it's just very unpredictable, like how they like to play. And they also like to go from one end to the other. Quick rounds into the slowest rounds with the burst. Right at the end, flash is good. Only one in it for Kissel. But it scared them, and that's pretty good. With 30 seconds left, it is quite good to just keep them at bay. There's not any panicked rotations yet from the CT side. They're actually very, very ready for more of a mid-move. Oh, man. Maybe should have been a kill. Good Def not able to get it. He creates it, but that could have been 1 or 2. They were fully distracted away by that CT player. It's Cos, however, holding in on the site itself, leaving Aches with it all to do, and he's out of time. Going to try and find the kills, but you can see he's so flustered. He jumps by accident trying to get up there, spamming that mouse wheel to try and get up those boxes, and it's a really, really unlikely steal.
Too slow. Too slow. A round seemingly out of nowhere. With that being said, third on the board, give it a bit of fortune. Obviously, it's going to dampen the econ slightly towards that T side, as you can see. That might just be the springboard required.
We'll see. They open up.
They get a 5th, you know, in this half.
Yeah, it's
We can talk about some positives.
a number that is workable. We maybe don't like it, given the way that, you know, they were able to find that first rifle and everything, but yeah, it is a very workable number if they get that. Big if, though, it feels like. QWENTRY have just been in the ascendancy and they'd have to drop off the proverbial cliff. Edging their way out. It's a missed shot that does come through. What's on the AWP here? Need some assistance. It's actually Keegan over there, excuse me, but all the same. 3 versus 3 as the dust settles and the bomb gets planted. Half an eye on some of these locations. Great little spot, though, as Kissel finds himself in between the smokes and finding the shots. Not quite the headshots, though, and it's just an absolute mess of smokes over here. Really big find to come round, and they will eventually see it off, but that felt dicey in the middle.
Yeah, definitely a moment there where you can see they didn't really feel super comfortable. But now look where we are. Up to a 4th, and I mean, things feel like there's maybe a little bit of life starting to slowly come back in towards eLITEnergy a bit. And potentially QWENTRY even feeling a lot of kind of this pressure in the late portion of this first half. And in doing so, like, this might be the opening. You see for round number 12, like, the buy is going to be brutal. So all signs point to this should be a 5th to come through. But unfortunately, another tech pause before we get there.
Yeah, unlucky. We do have a lot of them dotted in at the moment, but generally pretty quick. I just, you know, after seeing this Jorko clip today, maybe it is all this desk slamming that's going on. You know, you're knocking these new cameras. You just got to readjust. Certainly seems like it could be a pretty good argument.
Yeah, getting the elbow into the desk.
Yeah, the people's elbow, as they say.
Yeah. Wild clip.
That would never occur to me.
Yeah, to elbow drop my desk.
I've had a couple ragey moments in my time. I usually just sort of slam the keyboard a couple times or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Nothing too crazy. Maybe my space bar comes disconnected if you got the old mechanical keys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But I've not done that in about 10 years, I reckon. And yeah, that was about as far as it went. But yeah, elbow in the desk. Crazy. That's real. You know, that's real damage to yourself and the desk, one would assume.
Yeah, I feel like I'd get funny bone as well. Like,
yeah, if you hit it wrong, you're just gonna end up with like a numb arm for the next round. Or I guess they'd lost. To be fair, it was over.
Yeah, it was over. So it's like you know, and also they've not really got anything else like major really coming up. So I can take the time off.
Time to recover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that physio for his elbow. Crazy. No, it is. It is. We are back into the action here, though. Hopefully everybody's calmed down a little bit as it is into this final round of the first half. And yeah, we remain ever questioning whether or not eLITenergy are going to be able to bring this as close as possible, considering the way it was going in the middle of the half. We were like, okay, QWENTRY almost at the point where we can say it's over, take it to a third. And just as they got there, we see a resurgence from the CT side.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely looked like they were on track to get 8 rounds, maybe even potentially looking for a 9th, and how quickly they've fallen. So shocking. An opening kill will come through on towards that CT side. Nice way to start it off.
Oh, lovely follow-up. Relatively big change. Is this double up setup? They've done very, very well. Keegan, not quite able to land his, but he spotted a fair chunk of them to be able to just communicate to the rest of the team that it looks like it is going to be an A hit now. So we're leaning on these individuals. Slackjez goes down all too easily. It's just a couple of deagles left. They get the bomb plant. Who cares, right? You need the round.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
And these deagles not looking long for this world. Psycho Doctor, fully spotted out, fully finished off. And it will be 7-5 at the turn of the half. Commendable stuff from eLITenergy.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're looking towards the second half and saying, there's life in the CT side of eLITenergy. Will the T side look as good as they did on Overpass? For now, we're going to have to find out. We're going to throw it to a break. We'll see you soon. Hello, welcome back in what felt initially, as you were putting it, Script, it felt like it was just QWENTRY side running away with the first half. They squandered quite a few chances at the tail end, and it's actually only a 2-round game now, and with the run of momentum from eLITenergy, they've had a pistol, and QWENTRY are actually in serious trouble for this series.
No, I think it is very, very true. And they have to be careful. They have to be careful. I mean, they've been relatively consistent on the pistols is the one thing that I'll give them. So I think that might help them to, like, grow the gap, especially if they're able to, like, fully convert things, a bit of a force buy in there, etc. So, yeah, I think that there is a world in which they can hit the double digits quite fast if things work out nicely for them. But that is a caveat that might not go their way. So, yeah, they do have to be very careful moving forwards, that things don't slip through their fingers again in a similar-ish fashion. I think they've started off well here rather than having a really sharp recovery. But just the fact that once in a while there's like a mistake round that comes in, seems to tumble the mental, and then they lose the next couple, and they're playing catch-up. So they just got to be careful that doesn't happen into the second half.
That's it. Shall see, but yeah, I've been impressed. Really nice moments coming through, and quite interesting pistol, which feels like a necessity for QWENTRY, and it's already gone down to 4. And they don't have to commit by any means. It looked like they're tempted to double back, smoke for the cross. Access is going to try and dive in to get around this, and Barrage is going to do a huge amount to slow them down.
Face crack. Thinking about the nade, but doesn't actually get it out. Oh, man. A mare has been had, for sure. He gets mollied. He gets the nade back out. He really doesn't know what he's doing there. Slacks Jez. On the corner here. They're going to try and take him. Lovely little move. As Kissel was hoping to stay alive, it doesn't happen for him, but at least he's created a bit of something. Lovely angle here from Abaraju. Keeps the round going in his favour. They'll charge him down and finish things off. QWENTRY will indeed find that pistol, and as predicted, it could get a bit dangerous now for that T side.
Yeah, thank God. It felt like, especially with the start, lose the man advantage, I was already going to start to get a little concerned. It's again a bit of a sigh of relief, bit of an opportunity as well to, in the early portion of this half, build upon it. Even still, it's not fully kind of a confidence builder. If you can take a pistol super cleanly, it's going to give you that scope to come in towards this and start feeling really confident about yourselves. I'm not convinced just yet, especially with that slight squander towards that tail end. But let's see, with a force back coming through for the T side, you lose this round. They don't have many more chances of force buy in this map. So that's how quickly this second half and therefore second map can be concluded. You've got to be careful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, they can really grow that scoreline with the pistol. And
we always say it's not the pistol that's important, it's the force buy.
Yeah,
so,
that is true. That is true.
This is the big one. This is, you know...
I really would have preferred the ecos into the AKs straight away.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I just think Dust2 force buy is not really as effective.
I've been preaching
given a lot of space.
Too many force buys. How long have I been saying that?
Yeah, we did do that for a little while there, didn't we? We like tracked them all.
Yeah.
You mainly, but yeah, it was definitely an ongoing conversation.
Me mainly, me updating you.
Yeah, right. But we talked about it a lot last year.
Yes, exactly. And I felt like it was something that I sort of... a point that I sort of beat to death, but... if anything, the numbers sort of added to my argument.
Good flash. Not quite able to create a lot off of it, though. And bro kind of forgot that there was a hit on the A-bomb site, or what? Fully caught off their Psycho Docs. There's a lot of flustered players on this QWENTRY side, despite the fact that they are still finding efficacy. 2 versus 2 now, just straight contacting in. And it looks good. They lose track, but he's not able to eliminate them both. Slaxajez does it cleanly, gets that kit as well. It's close, man, and there's definitely some mistakes coming in It's just the fact that the eLITEnergy boys cannot capitalize, cannot work around that because they're just not as comfortable on this map.
Yeah, that's it. Fortunately, that felt like a decent chance. I actually really liked that post-plant setup, and it still wasn't good enough. That could be it for me, to be honest. I mean, the good news, of course, because of, again, another bomb plant, like, as we're seeing here, most teams are just forced by back in, and we got it so close then, 2 versus 2 of a bomb plant. Maybe this time with slightly bit of firepower, we can make it work for us, but I don't know, that mindset always worries me. It's such a, again, like, show of confidence in that team, which is just, generally a good sign, but we want those AKs out. We want the real chance to show what you can do.
Charging in again, but the M4 standing much stronger this time around. Catch off in towards middle is a big deal. It's all going to be down to Cos. Eliminates one. Might be able to squeeze the bomb plant out. He's looking for more fights. MP7 reveals itself. Thankfully, it is an MP7 because I think he would have been absolutely dead there. Aberraju on the other side of the smoke. Opts to push through, but has the HP to work with. They just, again, pip to the post. A lot of these rounds coming close, but QWENTRY showing their extra level on this map to just close out these rounds much cleaner.
At this point, give me map 3. I just cannot see a world. Non-starter in this one. Looks like Hero Rifle is going to be the play. Guess I'll bring that out, and that'll be about it. But unfortunately, that's just been the talking point of this map. Like, it was that slight pocket towards the tail end of the first half, which I felt like might have opened the door to recovering things, but unfortunately, just straight back to mediocrity towards the second half. 1 for 1.
Not a bad start, to be honest. And it feels like there are chinks in the armor. There's really cracks on the way. If QWENTRY are not careful, so they really have to stay on their A game to the very end. Econ can't necessarily suffer a loss because of how close some of these rounds have come. So, yeah, really do have to be careful, and particularly to lose it here, to lose it in a round like this. Some smokes available on B. Slaxajez, though, with the jump spots, it's pretty, everyman kind of job. Misses the timing on the tunnel players and will go down. Aberraju was there to help him out a little, but is it going to be enough? He's not on the site itself. He can't necessarily stop them getting in, and Good Def with the AK is still alive here. They have to be very careful and respectful of said AK. Aberraju in a good spot. Is there anything to come his way? The answer, no at the moment. Waiting on that flank, waiting on that teammate before he starts moving, and it does indeed make sense. Face crack gets a flash out. Nothing spotted initially. Some good spots here for the T side to close this out. First head rolls. Psycho Doctor's scared to try and move in. That allows them to isolate all these duels, and they will get it done. A pretty big 4-spy win that could start this comeback.
That's it. Oh, well, well. Might just open up a door or two, but you can kind of see that there's still decent econ to work with. Get that up. With the FAMAS and a few upgraded pistols, it can still be somewhat scary here if not played properly. But you find this round here for eLITEnergy, which up to a 7, breaks the econ of the CT side, so the 8th is then, at that point, kind of a guarantee, and it's one gun round. Lose that gun round, QWENTRY, you're in serious trouble. So that's how you can open things up.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Just got to really work with it now. Lineup's coming in. And you can see they're very much grouped together. Don't want to let this opportunity slip away. No mistakes, and get that team play going. Psycho Doctor round this corner on the 5-7. Could be really scary. He's heard the scope there. Goes peeking in for it, though. And will go down. Meanwhile, on the A site, they're trying to recover a bit of space towards short. Being held. Is it being held well enough? Looks decent so far, and indeed the M4's able to come out on top. 8 was around, but he's on that AWP, of course. Not much that he can do, and I don't even know that he's going to make it out here. I'll chase him down and finish him off. So, big finds. Eco makes it 10-8, in theory, if everything goes to plan. And then it's only one rifle between you and evening up that scoreline.
That's it. That is it. Things are potentially quite scary. Potentially. This round's a throwaway. We kind of know that, but it really comes down to round number 19 and that gun round. Like, if QWENTRY fumble, especially if they don't really find all too much, before we know it, yeah, there's going to be serious problems. Good chance, well, for someone like Gissel on the Mac 10 to make some money. Sanchez is getting the back lines here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Something brewing with all these USBs. Take an AK away. However, they have been spotted a bit early. They'd maybe want the bomb to be more committed in towards the site, but it just wasn't the case. So only one kill. But man, they are bringing it back. They are looking good while doing so. That key round going their way has made all the difference, and I think QWENTRY taking their foot off the gas looks very, very worrying now. They are the ones that have got to be super, super careful. And one rifle round stands between, you know, depending on saves and whatnot, but ultimately it could be the opportunity that eLITEnergy need to just make this Dust 2 way more competitive than it ever should have been.
Yeah. No, agreed. Like, it's not quite a do or die round for QWENTRY, but it's one that's going to alleviate a lot of those pressures. Let's see. This is super, super important from what has been slightly underwhelming. Not towards long 8. He's going to fight for this control. Doesn't see a lot. You can see that for eLITEnergy, they just don't want to give away anything in the early portion of this round. It's smart. Head on their shoulders. They know how important it is for them. You take this round here.
Three on B. And no one towards middle. I mean, they'll pay attention, of course, but it's a change up in the setup for QWENTRY. Could be effective, but it's not the most complicated change in their approach, right? Like, it is something that could work for them, but it, again, starts to speak to just a lack of adaptability and a lack of a playbook in terms of the coordinated aggression and whatnot. We've got some funky angles is really the thinking. Psycho Doctor up top. I don't know that this is one that's going to be expected.
Surely not. Like, no one ever looks
at weird angle.
We normally call it a one and done. You get one and then you have to either fall off or next time they move out, you get traded. That's a bold move, though. 20 seconds, you don't have a lot of time.
Bait things in. You are correct that they don't have a lot of time, but the ray-hold is just so weak.
Yeah.
The 8s can't really stop them from short, so he's trying to deal with the long player, regain some control. Monsters go swinging into him all alone. Gives them a kill back. They've just lost so much control. They're desperate to retake it. And the kills are looking good for the CT side. Abaraju eats that nade. It's going to be 1-on-2 for him. And he cannot get it done. QWENTRY, again, looking flustered, looking frustrated. And I call into question the mental and the conversations. And just the way that the communication is going down, because it does appear to me that they are very tilted.
Really interesting game now. Again, because you come back in towards this slightly lesser buy. Scouting's not good at pistols. Ooh. Trading tags. Was the AWP a little harder. Actually just left lower and opener for Finn. Good to see as well for just in general that Finn's feeling a bit more confident. Obviously, he had such a poor start in that previous map. And despite the win, he definitely had moments where he was looking a little worse for wear. Oh, that's a great shot from Keegan. He preempted it as well.
He's looked really good for me. I've enjoyed Keegan a lot, honestly. And I think it might just continue for the rest of this one. Scout is out. I know about him. Keegan's going to take him down eventually. On the elevated angle. They'll keep it coming. And they fall down to the Psycho Doctor. Nothing he can do. Flawless round coming in. You see what it means? They feel good about it. 10-10 now. As it is a really, really key round. Big rifle buy from QWENTRY. And a wake-up moment, of course. Maybe need a timeout headed into this one to try and stop this momentum from the T side, but it's not going to be the case. And they continue letting things slip away from them, right? The grand final on the other side of this, the regional spot, Pro League spot. Only a handful of games away if you think about it. And they have just not played up to their level this evening.
Barrage. Waiting for a swing out for a bit. He might get it. Three in this direction. You got Finn, who's in a close enough spot to rotate, and the bombs over here too. But also, plenty of time, plenty of space to cancel and fall away, which is kind of what we're seeing now. Because they have all of this mid control in towards lower as well, they've got decent information on short. Like, there's so much potential to rotate and kind of chop and change between the sides. And you can see where they've dragged QWENTRY over towards B. There's 3 players here now.
Yeah, it's something they tried before. It just didn't quite work for them. Really just hoping for like a B burst. It's quite interesting. They leaned on B a lot. And now they're putting a lot of their CT resources into B. Just kind of overplaying things over there, you might argue. Cost to hold. Big trade. Big fine from him, but it works to trade numbers-wise. He does go down, but he's confirmed the location of a couple. And done some more damage. Light tag landing, but not that heavy. Bomb plant going to come in. And this is where it gets important. Can the AWP get in the conversation as it needs to get closer to the site? They know about it now. They know they can just kind of hide away from it for as long as possible. Keegan quickscopes round, and he continues having the impact hit. As number 11 is just on the horizon for the T side. And I think I would argue a save from here, boys.
Yeah,
but
for sure. They can't get out, though.
They are still thinking about it.
The issue is, there's like no real safe place to save Finn. How we messed that up.
I think they could have walked CT, at least attempted it. Rather
I really
than
thought that like maybe like
fully going for the retake.
Short player would like hold for that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but even here, like, could have been 2 kills here for sure. Finn shouldn't really mess that shot up. It just doesn't matter, though. It just doesn't matter at all. 11th on the board. And now, unfortunately for QWENTRY, they are stuck in a horrible predicament where they have to force buy out the rest of this map. Or the rest of regulation, at least. Which is an awful spot to be in. The mid push is interesting. Because it's going to work. Abaroja gets the first.
Good to see. That coordinated aggression we often talk about. Yeah, very, very good to see that QWENTRY is still able to come up with moments like that. Find success off the back of it. What is the next move? Psycho Doctor. On this corner angle. May well get checked, but then it might be the right side that gets checked, and it's an off angle for him. He spots the barrel first. Kissel still gets the better of him. 4-on-4 is a really big deal. Short aggression is quite fast. Flank on the cards. It's being watched for. Cos ready for a bit more here as well. He might have heard a footstep on the way in. Spot another player. Just can't find the kill, though. 3-on-3 now ensuing.
Egan, he's got the right out there. The Riflers can take this forward space behind that smoke. With no break on it, they've been able to creep across. Dolly now until short will alert them to the potential that they, and the knowledge they are up close. Keegan going to double back. Overlooked on the site. Slack suggests will get one. It's all on Keegan now. 15 seconds. The flash is fantastic. How has Slack just lost that? And how is Keegan still in for a chance here? He dives up. Are you kidding me? 1 versus 2 for Keegan. How in God's name have QWENTRY lost that round?
Yeah, wild, and I mean, could be just a super defining moment. I think it will be, honestly. Not could be, it absolutely will be. And again, just the flustered comms and very, very messy. A few overfaces. And this is kind of what happens, you know, you play with the instincts. I think they have worked on these things in the past, but this particular series has just got them a bit tilted and a bit in their own heads. And they will pay the price for it in the worst possible way so far. Is there anything left for them? I think it is difficult to say, and starting to feel a little negative about it. Tag comes in onto Slaxajez early on here. QWENTRY with 2 in a row going to be required.
So Molly on the corner of short for smoking towards door. They can scale, but I like this. They don't know it yet. They might in a second, but they can keep pushing. And they actually might get him behind the bomb. Oh, and Finn's sort of aware of this being a possibility. Oh, he checks! And he's also dead, though. That's the bomb. Uh-oh. 50 seconds. They're now going to pull off a bit of an awkward recovery mission. Or maybe not so awkward. Guess we'll just walk and pick it up.
Yeah, they give it. They certainly do give it. Psycho Doctor. Shadow. Shoots a little early. He's been struggling from these spots, man. Putting himself in a lot of off angles like this. And I think if they just take all the approaches round the long house and round those long corners nice and safe, they are guaranteed a kill almost. Keegan on the orb gets another. So it looks good now for the T side. They're going to try and hit in towards the A site. 8 Sids here. And there's only 15 seconds to get that bomb down. They know there's a little presence, but the bomb hits the deck. They've got to deal with 8 quickly, and you see it's just so disjointed. Wow. It doesn't matter, though, because they just look and find those kills. It will be eLITEnergy to move forward to knock out QWENTRY 2-0. Absolutely wild stuff, as it will indeed be eLITEnergy in the grand final. I mean, got to be certainly one of the lowest ranked teams in that kind of a position that we have seen so far in these cups.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a crazy series because it honestly felt for like the largest portion of this game that it was just massively underperforming QWENTRY, who were really causing a lot of issues to themselves, a lot of problems that ended up becoming super costly. And you know, credit to them, eLITEnergy. They had opportunities to really pile on the pressure, and they do. It's fantastic work. There's a lot to like, and it now starts a really interesting final. I had a feeling that we might end up getting kind of the rematch, right? You know, Johnny Speeds knocked QWENTRY down in towards the slower bracket. I had a feeling it was like, it would just be the same thing again, and then most likely the same result, right? Johnny Speeds 2-0 there. But this now sets up a very interesting final. Like, again, this eLITEnergy side, like, no one really knows who they are. There's no known names in this team. Like, at the most, Cost played for a little bit in Nuclear Tigers, but he played in Nuclear Tigers before they were Nuclear Tigers, as in the tier 2 really scary Nuclear Tigers. So all these guys are complete unknown quantities, and it now makes a really interesting final here. And for them to, in the rematch, like, eLITEnergy got knocked down into the lower bracket by QWENTRY earlier in this cup, and then in the rematch in the lower bracket final to beat them and book their spot in towards the final itself. Really, really sick to see. So we'll have to see, and that leaves us with one more game. We take a look at that upper bracket as well. with our final game of this entire Cup number 3. Johnny Speeds taking on eLITenergy. And let's be frank, not a single person in the world could have predicted these two teams to be the finals. Johnny Speeds, yes. eLITenergy, most definitely not.
No, absolutely true. And I mean, again, this is a position for like eLITenergy to really capitalize on, as we said, with this cup being a little undersubscribed because of the nature of where it falls, and that just being the fact that it does happen, of course. But yeah, really looking forward to that grand final, and the difference of $7,000 is really nothing to be worried about, and nothing to shake a stick at. I think they've definitely got to bring out their best game. eLITenergy, to be honest with you, Johnny Speeds have been playing so well recently, so well in this cup, and are seemingly in prime position to just win out the entire thing. But as you can see, stranger things have happened. QWENTRY end up in that 3rd spot, and they'll still be happy to have won out some prize money here, but of course could have had a lot more. And indeed, the old VRS argument, etc. But just the fact that Pro League might have been part of the conversation for them a little bit further down the line. Just not the case here, unfortunately, in the end now.
Yeah, exactly that. But that is our best of 3 done today. It's a wild game. I can't believe QWENTRY have fallen flat in this one, but it now sets up a very, very interesting final tomorrow. You do not want to miss it, but the Counter-Strike's not done for today. There is more CS throughout the evening. The South America Cup number 3 and North America Cup number 3 throughout the evening, so make sure to stay tuned and check out the socials and all of the rest. But for myself and Scrib and production, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon. Yeah, he's just a couple of inches to the right-hand side, which means he isn't hit the shot. Trades will come through, but they haven't cleared barrels. Psycho Doctor's here. He'll get to
behind him. Flash coming in for this. Oh man, Slacks Jez goes early. Anti-flash for a flash that never comes. Crazy find. Slacks Jez is alive in this round. Oh my goodness, 4-piece for him before being taken down. On the site itself, we've got the ore.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've got the nade strike though. Still not loads of time though, 30 seconds. Ace is melting as he's blinded up. Psycho Doctor also to fall. Face crack's gone down quick, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. The round is over. Does leave Keegan alone. He's got the ore, and he does find a kill. His teammate as well has actually brought the numbers in favor of the CT side. Keegan a ridiculous find there. It's all going to be down to Abaraju here. 20 seconds in which to do it, and Keegan is looking to really play.
And the knowledge there up close. Keegan going to double back. Overlooked on the side. Slacks Jez will get one. It's all on Keegan now. 15 seconds. The flash is fantastic. How has Slacks Jez lost that? And how is Keegan still in for a chante? He dives up. Are you kidding me? 1 versus 2 for Keegan.
And there's only 15 seconds to get that bomb down. They know there's a little presence, but the bomb hits the deck. They've got to deal with Ace quickly, and you see it's just so disjointed. Wow.